A very good evening. A secret settlement between Prince Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre, and the convicted paedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, has been made public. Prince Andrew's lawyers say the document, which was drawn up in 2009, releases him from any liability. Ms Giuffre claims that she was trafficked by Epstein to have sex with the prince when she was aged 17, a minor under US law. Prince Andrew has denied all the allegations made against him. Our correspondent, Joe Pike, joins us now from New York with the latest. So, Joe, what have you gleaned from the documents?
Well, Dermot, there is no mention of Prince Andrew or of royalty, no specific mention in this 9-page unsealed document. But there is an important provision, which I'm sure his lawyers may argue gets him out of this case, a provision to protect, quote, other potential defendants from liability. But it is a very broad clause here, a very broad clause, which may mean that the judge tomorrow, Lewis Kaplan, decides to go ahead with this case. Ultimately, Prince Andrew has, for many months, been attempting to get this case thrown out. The last attempt was based on a point of jurisdiction. The Duke of York's lawyers arguing Virginia Giuffre lives in Australia. She may be a US citizen, but has not lived in the US for much of the last 20 years, and therefore this should be thrown out. They rejected it. Now it's up to Judge Lewis Kaplan yet again to decide on another argument. Now, this is a $500,000 settlement signed by Virginia Giuffre and the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein in 2009. And as I say, Prince Andrew's lawyers will be hoping that the provision, this broad provision to protect other potential defendants, may help them. However, whatever the judge decides, certainly we could be seeing problems for him in the future, partly because whatever this court decides, the court of public opinion has delivered a pretty brutal verdict on the Duke of York, certainly after that damaging Newsnight interview in 2019. Also the fact that here last week, Ghislaine Maxwell, a close friend of his, was convicted of child sex trafficking offences. That means, of course, that two close friends of Prince Andrew, people he invited to Balmoral, people he invited to Windsor Castle, are now, we know, Jeffrey Epstein, a prolific paedophile, and Ghislaine Maxwell, a child sex trafficker. If the judge decides, Dermot, to go ahead with this, and that this document released today does not change that, we could see a jury trial in the autumn of this year. Now, trials are very rare in civil proceedings. This is a civil proceeding, which means it's about money and reputation, not about potential prison time. Now, trials are rare because normally parties settle. They decide, often with a financial incentive, to sign out of court and not proceed to a trial. The difference here is that Virginia Giuffre, who accuses Prince Andrew of sexually assaulting her 3 times when she was 17 years old. He, of course, denies that. Her motives are slightly different. She already has a significant amount of money. She lives quite a wealthy lifestyle in Australia, partly from the compensation in this deal with Jeffrey Epstein, $500,000 from 2009. That may mean she would potentially decide it's not about the money. She'd prefer to pursue justice and find the truth, whatever is offered by Prince Andrew and his lawyers. But of course, that has not happened. Prince Andrew has not tried to settle yet, and that may not happen. So the document is out. It does not mention Prince Andrew by name, but there is a broad provision that could potentially protect defendants like him. We will have a hearing in this case tomorrow in front of Judge Lewis Kaplan. Ultimately, it's up to him to decide if this document changes the civil case or if it progresses, and potentially we see a trial in the autumn.
Joe Pike in New York, thank you very much.